Part 3, the neck. We've got several jobs to do here, which is going to be interesting. Starting with the headstock. As you can see, it's a blocked out, unfinished piece, and so you can make your own designs. I'm going to stay traditional because I'm boring like that, but I do like the tele headstock. So this is a template that I already made from using my old tele as a guide. Now, as you can see, the neck on that one is totally different to this one. It's like different here and here and here. So we have to adapt it. As long as that straight edge is right, we're okay. So it's going to be the tele headstock. I have a choice of using either a jigsaw, but I'm not sure how this wood is going to cope with it. I'd rather be a bit more gentle. And the jigsaw blades tend to be a little bit brutal. So I've got the old coping saws if I need them. Might use this. Feel a bit more handmade if I do that anyway. Also makes a cool noise. Right. The next part of this job will be the back of the neck will be sanded. It's actually not a bad finish already. There's a couple of little impurities that I'm never going to get rid of, but the grain's quite nice. So I'm going to pretty much go for some finer grade sandpaper and start on that and just get a nice finish up before I use the old True Oil on it. Then we're going to make sure all this lines up in case we need to put shims in, for neck angle adjustments, because we don't know how good this is going to be. The busiest part of the exercise today will be the frets and the fretboard. These are very roughly cut. I can feel every single one of these as we travel down the fretboard. The fretboard itself isn't actually that bad. It's quite even, because you tend to get little undulations and different cuts, but it's cut quite square. It's quite a gentle radius, i.e. the curve on the fretboard itself. It gets quite wide at this end, so it's not too bad. But the neck itself isn't very hard looking, but it's quite wide, particularly at the second and the first. The nut is terrible. This may have to be replaced. We could probably get by cutting it a little bit easier, kind of a bit more precisely, and a little bit of finishing with the truss rod. But that's going to be my little task for the day. We're going to do a bit of crowning, and we're going to try and get it even. If we look down the neck, you can see it is pretty true. That's not bad. I've seen a lot worse necks than that on professionally made guitars. This is a slight bow in here on the 7th and to the 9th, I think. We'll get that out. Be fine. So, next step, you're going to see me blocking this onto this, and we're going to try and cut it out. Do I use a jigsaw? Because this is a good jigsaw. I'd say it's got a nice fan to blow stuff out of the way, but it's more your DIY thing than any fine woodworking. These blades, the only ones I have, are saying it'd be nice for cutting through this, for example. But cutting through something that's already quite well made, I'd be wincing all the time to do it. A couple of fine blades, but they might be a bit dull. Coping saw it is. Let us begin. Time lapse. The cardinal rule: measure twice, cut once. If that doesn't work, measure 3 times. So as you can see, there's the headstock cut out. Go a bit closer so you can see it. I've shaded all this in just for the camera really. But here, a little bit different. I've had to improvise just a slightly different curve there. And I'm going to cut just before the line, just to around here. And then the rest is going to be done with some heavy sanding and the old files. These are good files, actually. Boom. Cutting. Right then, as you can see, we have very roughly shaped out our headstock. I did not go up to the lines because a coping saw can only do so much, especially one with quite an old blade. So I'm going to attack the rest of this with a file, and then I'm going to attack it again with a lot of sanding. So it's not completely even all the way, but we've hogged it out and it's starting to look like a tele neck. Next, a quick note on filing. See, you never really want just use one file. I mean, one can be done, you know, you can use anything. However, I've got a selection of files here. So I've actually got a broken ended file there, which is great for getting into very tight interstices. I've got a rounded cylindrical file here, which is great for things like this corner part here, which goes into the end of the nut. So it'd be very nice to round it off like that. But when you're hollowing out big chunks like this here, there's I'd say about 5mm of wood. It would be a lot easier to use a belt sander or something like that, you know, or something powerful. Of course, we're doing this by hand. So I'm going to use a flat file, and this, which is a trapezoidal shaped file, get the actual angle for you there. Reason being is that you can hog out a lot of meat with it, and when you do start moving the wood, you know exactly where it's going. You need to put a lot of pressure on it. Yeah, I advise you to use the straight edge, not the crosshatch, because it just moves a lot more material quickly. So, have a sip of tea. And let's get on with it. You can see we've taken off an awful lot of material there in about 6 minutes. It was about this width before, and it's gone down to the line. You've got to keep it square as you're filing, because otherwise it won't match this side, because this side here is pretty much at a right angle. Other thing, make sure you keep dusting off that file. because it's no use to anyone if it's clogged up with sawdust. You can see what we've moved. It's actually quite a fair amount of material. So there we go. So this is the cut. You see how close we are to the line. I'm going to come in here in a minute with a different kind of file, and we're going to round off this corner just so it's easy, because this is where your thumb will be and where your finger will be hitting. So I want it to match this. Next. Now, as you can see, we've taken an awful lot of material off here. We're just up onto the line now. Here there's a lot more than you need. That's why you see me using these different files. They hog out an awful lot of material all of a sudden. The next job is to get this flush. It's actually a little bit wider at the bottom than it is at the top. That's why you see me with 2 hands in this manner. But this file is great for just taking good amounts of material off. You can go either direction because it's got nice sharp edges. Go at a slight angle and you can get a nice move there. There's a divot that's been created, so I need to get this out of the way and this out of the way. That's where the pencil comes back in, like you saw with the sanding one. This basically has to go. Once them pencil marks are gone, then we've made some progress. Now these bits here I did cut a little bit shallow, so I might come back in with the coping saw and just do a little bit of rounding on that before I go in, just to save me old arms some time. This end's not too bad, but we've got from here to here, we're looking good, looking good, looking good. Needs a bit of a hog out there, going out, not too bad. A bit bulbous here, needs to be more flush going around. Here needs an awful lot to come out. But you can see with this, and particularly the cylindrical one, how you can just create some easy disturbance in the wood. It's not pretty, but it gets rid of an awful lot of problems. Then you come in with the finer and finer files, and then the finer with the sandpaper. So we don't have to be mad exact yet. Not yet. It's not crucial yet. See this here? I want to get back to that line. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. You can. This you can go diagonally in. There's 1/2 centimetre nearly gone. And we can use this as our guide to where we need to go vertically. You see how much it's taken off every stroke. almost like a tooth bite. Apologies if this camera is vibrating. You are actually on my workbench at the moment. There we go. It's absolutely roasting out here again. It was a storm yesterday. It was bliss. Bring back the rain. Time lapse. Now, because we were a little bit rough and ready with the corners, we're going to go back in with a coping saw just to get rid of some meat. Always try and work vertically, don't go on the slant. Bad idea to push away, but we're going to do it anyway. That's what we're looking for. Good. We are going right up to the line now. Don't worry, it's not going to be flat when I'm finished. Lovely. Get the end of that away. Round all these off. A little bit more mash needed there. Tempted to go in with an old chisel actually, but we'll see. Lovely. That's done a lot more work just by taking things that size off. You see, now when we come in with the file, we go nearly all the way straight to the line, and we can have some fun again. Blades get really hot. Seriously, it's roasting today. Tea needed. Next. Right, we're now going to go in with some sandpaper. This is 100 grit. It's rough enough, and we're just going to end this bit here before we carry on. I want to round this off so that we have a nice little shape. And this means turning from this way to this way so we can work down the wood. So, a little bit of adjustment. Lovely. Nice bit of packing foam there just to help me on my way. Nice and snug for this one. Because the thing about this is you can see the profile of it a bit now, can't you? You can see it's a bit square here. And it's a little bit wide here. But we're getting there. We are really getting there. We're good. We're happy. We are happy. Get a bit of a better angle for you. There you go. Not too bad. You might see the cats running in and out, but that's the way it is. Now, I might need a bit of a smaller sheet of this. I'm going to need a lot of it, but I have loads. So this is where I end up. Yes, that's what we want. That's going to look a lot better. I'm happy with that. Once I've got this done, I can sand down the entire neck. You see, get it nice and even. You're amazed at what you can actually move, material-wise, with sandpaper, as long as you know which direction to go in. Do this with a razor blade even. It's a nice grain to this wood. Not quite sure. I'm assuming it's supposed to be maple, but I doubt it. If you happen to know, and you can see it in the background. I can't really. Beetle was the name of the company that made this kit. If you happen to know any of the details, you tell me. It's quite forgiving though. This is higher than this side. So. This may turn into 2 videos. I'm spending a long time on this. Been here nearly 2 hours. Just creating this little shape. So this might be just neck part 1. I'm having fun doing this though. Nice. Paper's starting to burn. These are where the file is dug in, so I've got to come back with the file on these ones. Just getting that rounded edge. We're doing well. New paper. Cat's watching me going, what the hell are you doing with your life? I'm not doing this in time lapse just so you can see how much material can be moved in what we're at 6 minutes just in this little segment there. I'm just being very careful not to damage the edges where it meets the original guitar neck. Let's go back in with the file now. Flat file. Let you round that one up in the middle there. I don't think the people at Fender are going to be too worried about copyright issues. I love the tele though. The Telecaster is a great instrument, very versatile. I've done everything on the tele. Blues, jazz, black metal. Oh yeah. And I've decided, by the way, regarding the pickup conversation we had in the first video, that I'm going to stick with the original lipstick pickup. Reason being is I'm hoping to try and get some custom ones made. Might cost a few quid, but I think I'm going to have this guitar for a while, so I think it might be worth it. Flat file, flat file, flat file. Nice. Bit of a divot here. Look close up. Now, you see what I've done there? You see that radius is now pretty smooth. Little bump here, it goes down. And this is where, use your fingers, just nice and smooth. Happy with that. If you can hear scratching, that's my cat in the litter tray. And these off. And then we're going to do a little bit more here, and we're going to go back to time lapse. Any big scratches we can get rid of with more sandpaper. Amazing what you can do with one saw blade and 4 files and a pencil. That's looking a bit more healthy. I'll flip this over in a minute once I get rid of this end. I think we're going to get a bigger file. Back in a second. Razor blade. Pull it towards you. Boom, top. Well, it's a Stanley blade actually, but it moves a lot of stock. There's an annoying divot here I'm trying to get rid of. Almost works like a plane, which I have a plane here, but we shall see. That's a lot better. I love an old Gillette double-ended blade. Great for this sort of thing, but I haven't got any. as you can see, there's not much reason for me to have razor blades. Look at that. That's nice. Very nice. Give you a closer look. Okay, there you go. You can see this is the divot that's been causing me all the problems here. And this is gradually working out, but that is nice and smooth now. We're right up to the line on this side. Even just a small brush, you can see what comes off in it. See? You can see it works. Next. Nearly hogged it all out, which is good. This is looking very nice now. We've got a nice shape to it. It's a bit straighter here than I was expecting, but I can get the rest of that with sandpaper. But it's flush on either side now. Actually, tele light's a little bit lower here. Going to come up to here. Now we've got to finish up the top. I want a nice rounded curve on there. As you can see, there's an edge on it at the moment. And once that's done, there's a little divot here, which the saw did. I did. Once we get rid of that, we're ready to go. So Stanley blade, plain sandpaper. And this one's going to have a good go at the file before we do anything else. Next. Little break there from the heat. You can see what's left to come off. The bottom's a little bulbous. Top and the corners aren't too bad. This is a bit too flat. Need to round that, and take it a little bit off there. And we're nearly done. And the next video will be the frets. Because as you can see, it's getting dark out now. So nice couple of hours. Next. And there we are, not too bad. few uneven bits and bobs. You see it working down that way. And now I'm just going to sand the back of this neck and leave the frets to another day. Next. Not bad for about 5 hours. Sanded all the back of this ready for staining as well. Not too terrible, eh? Next job, frets, fretboard.